Hi, it's Etharal here for EGN, and today I'm going to try out a new game for you. It is Stellaris. Obviously it was released last week, so I've just been playing around with it a little bit over the weekend and everything to try and get a bit of an idea for it. It's quite a nice little game, so it's obviously meshing two of my sort of favourite styles of games. So first of all, you've got obviously the 4X space games, something I fell in love with when I was a lot younger and I've always enjoyed playing pretty much ever since. And then also as well mixing the paradox style of grand strategy, where you're taking everything at a lot higher level and then putting it all together. So I'm just having a little bit of a play around. I've had a go of a few of like the humans and sort of getting a feel of the game. It is definitely a 4X game through and through in sort of the truest sense of the way of saying that. And it also does mix in some of the ideas for the paradox styles of games. Very, very nice combination, does work really well together. It's nice to see them getting away from sort of historical facts and into more sort of even more alternate ideas of what could happen and things like that. Obviously a lot of the a lot of the paradox games do end up going that way anyway, but you know, Stellaris takes it another step further. So I'm just having a bit of a play around here. This is my first attempt at actually making a race myself, so I'm going to have a little bit of a go of this one. I'm going to try, and admittedly I'm going to be quite boring. I'm going to make something very much based on the Tau, which are a race from obviously 40k that I absolutely love. So that's something I'm going to have a go of making. You will obviously, anybody who does like Warhammer, likes this game, you will obviously already know that there is obviously a 40k total conversion mod already in the works. So hopefully we should get that pretty soon, start getting some versions of that, and then we will actually be able to start enjoying that one. I think I will do a Let's Play series as soon as they do get a sort of beta an alpha even, to be honest, for the mod, and see how that goes. But for now we do just have the base game. So this one, a lot of customization for anybody who actually does play a sort of games like this, where obviously you are making space empires. There is nothing unsurprising here with being able to design your race, give them a couple of traits and everything as your base sort of starting race, and then also as well be able to do the actual sort of designing your sort of government as well, and your playstyle, some of your starting technologies and all that sort of stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's not really breaking the bank, this game, on, you know, new ideas. It is more about sort of refining what is considered sort of your standard 4X space game and really taking it into what, you know, Paradox does well, and really developing that sort of, you know, the interaction side of things and everything, rather than the combat. Their games have never been massively about the combat. You will see this, the very typical in this game in a bit when I start getting into it. You will see the typical, you know, armies, units, whatever you want to call them, with a number. Everything is all done by a numerical value and things like that. This is all very new though, this side of things though, obviously, with being able to design your race. Obviously you could only really play humans, obviously, in any of their other games, unless you got lots of mods to be able to really change some stuff up. Now this one is interesting. Obviously it is similar to Crusader Kings 2, which obviously anybody who's played, you'll know. Obviously the Ruler Designer DLC, something that is really useful, something that I'm an absolute massive fan of, and always use in the actual game itself to really design a character that works for what I want. And this is sort of taking that, but in a far broader scheme. It's one of the problems that I had with Europa Universalis, was that I loved in Crusader Kings 2 the ability to actually really design the nuts and bolts of your family, whereas I felt like Europa EU4, shall we say, just to make it nice and easy for me, is a little bit sort of grander in the sense of it's more detached in that sense. So this, I feel like, is a nice middle ground between able to be detached and do the government side of things, but also as well you do get that little bit of customization for your actual race itself, not your specific character, unfortunately, but that is something that can deal with, obviously, so long as I've got that nice little mix and a little bit of touch of it. I think it does help with the role-playing side of things, which is obviously something that I'm a massive fan of. It will be interesting to see how the events and things like this in these games do get expanded on with later DLC, which I have no doubt will be in the work, and then from those we will actually be able to get some, hopefully a lot more in-depth this side of things, very much like the social desires and all the desires and everything, and the focuses that they added in with one of the DLCs for Crusader Kings 2. It's something I think that I would love to see in this game. But here we are, I'm just sort of getting to the point where I now sort of actually finished my character. I will point out this is all at double speed as well, so, you know, I enjoyed spending a good few, you know, sort of 10 minutes putting this race together into something that was going to interest me, and also as well getting as close to the actual Tau sort of style as I possibly could. It's not, you know, spot on, but it is, you know, pretty close really there. And so here is also obviously racial traits, something I was mentioning about, something very similar to the traits obviously you can get for characters in the actual game itself, and sorry, the Crusader Kings 2 game. We'll have a look at adding in a couple of these and everything just to make these nice and something quite interesting. Obviously I am going to play a very sciencey focused race. It's something that I do personally prefer playing. I'm not massively, you know, lover of militaristic styles in these sort of games. I prefer to, you know, have the, you know, couple of far less ships, but they're far more advanced. How well that will work in this game, I am not 100% sure. I'm still only sort of just in my sort of private playthroughs. I've managed to get through all of the early game phase of the exploration, starting to get into the colonization side of things, which obviously is something that, from what I have heard from, you know, reviews that I've obviously read, that this is a case where when you're mid and late game, this game does start to drop off a bit. I tend to play these on the biggest maps possible and everything like that though, so I drag everything out as long as possible. You know, I want these games to take hours and hours to play. I mean, you know, my Crusader Kings 2 game that obviously I'm running for use at the minute is 8-9 episodes in, each one about 40 minutes, so, you know, I'm definitely not in a rush to actually be looking at playing, you know, something that's going to take, you know, only a couple of hours and then you can leave it or anything like that. I do like this, that you can sort of choose the number of races in the galaxy, things like that. It is quite a nice little feature. So one thing I do believe I have noticed with these as well is this starting text does actually change depending on the traits and the government that you actually pick as to how it all comes into play. Quite a nice little feature. You will see here jumping around. That is a really useful feature as well. In the top right corner that I have seen is the actual tutorial stuff. It's all fully voiced, makes things a lot sort of easier for our, you know, new players. And obviously the Paradox games have never been great for, you know, entry-level players to just jump in and start picking up things as simple as knowing that you have to move your ships out into the sea before you can load troops onto them and things like that. That it never bothers to explain in Crusader Kings 2, and is something that you just sort of have to pick up through messing around with stuff. So this one again, obviously there isn't really that. Obviously I've never gotten to planetary invasions. I don't know how the troop sides work. It might well be the same thing. I'd certainly hope not. This I do really like as well. The technology side is a very interesting way of doing it. I almost do miss the tech trees from actual, you know, your Galactic Civilizations, Masters of Orion, all those other games. I'm not even going to try and mention the amount of ones that I've actually played in the past, because there'd be, well, it would take longer than this video to tell you about all of them. And so, you know, it's a lot more. And I do miss those tech trees. I think they were something that were quite a nice little idea. It helps me be able to see where I've been in sort of a this led into this led into this, in a logical sense, whereas the deck side of drawing randomly and everything is a little bit lacking. I would like to see some sense of, I can understand that I've came from, I mean, where I've came from and where I'm going. I mean, there is that there, and I know it will be there behind sort of the works. It would just almost be nice that I could sort of feel a little bit more from actually, you know, in an actual definite sense, I suppose would be the best way of saying it. So we're just going to have a look here. We're obviously jumping along. We're using guys who work along a sort of web route for this game. This is obviously, I'm just doing this, I'm not sure if I'm going to turn this into a series, this game. I may try starting again and things for an actual Let's Play series when I've got a little bit more of an experience under the belt of this game. I really did just want to get this up and sort of talk about my initial impressions. And so you can see here, these event chains that are being activated and everything are something that are really nice. I do like these. They give it a lot more focus. Obviously the Crusader Kings 2, EU4, EU3 even, all those games have been very much kind of a just sort of a almost do what you want sort of thing, I suppose. There is definitely still a sense of that in this game, but I still feel like, you know, this is a lot more directed. You've got an idea, you've got, you know, targets and quests to be doing. Obviously with, you know, governments that allow elections and everything, one of the ways that you can boost your chance of being re-elected is to by actually doing the things that you promise you're going to do. So if you have somebody who's elected who's based on a platform of research, they will get boosts to their next election if they have created so many research facilities and things like that, which is all nice and clearly done in the top left, those sort of 5 buttons that you will see, well actually 6 when you include obviously the Empire tab, really are invaluable. The situations one, the 1 second from the right, is a really useful one for keeping track of all those quests, giving you a sense of where you're going. Like I said, those do start to drop off. Obviously when you get to mid-game, the events in that are slightly lacking, which is something which would, you know, like to see developed, and I'm sure will get developed in the later expansions that obviously the Paradox are sure to do. They do love their expansions and really turning a game from being a solid game to begin with to really making it a really dense game. I mean, when you look at Crusader Kings 2, that's been out for years now. They're still releasing DLC for it, and, you know, it is very much a bigger beast than it was when it actually started. I think that is very much a sense of where they are going here with Stellaris. They've got a good solid foundation of a 4X game, and then next I think they will be taking DLC to really develop the ideas of what they've got for these. So as you can see here, we are just sort of building up our base planet and everything. We're going to be exploring, building some mining facilities and everything like that. And obviously you can see here, the green section is obviously the area that I control. And so I've obviously got a decent bit of space to explore inside of my area. We'll see how that does obviously expand as we go, and obviously once you're starting to build, you know, new colonies and frontier worlds and things like that, to be able to start expanding that influence, I think it will be really good. One of the things I have designed in this game, and I'm going to play this through, obviously, like I say, whether I do play this as an actual let's play or as an actual, you know, just I play this once as a tester and then I'm going to, you know, release a new one for later dates, please do be sure to leave comments, let me know whether you want to see more of this one. And so obviously this one I'm going to focus on sort of really expanding quite a bit and everything, and also as well, one of the things I've deliberately done at the beginning is to put down the number of AI races, because I do really want to have some really big empires going on. I am a little bit unsure on that. I've only started to touch on the sectors side of things and everything, which obviously I've read a lot of complaints about, as it kind of just makes, you know, whole sectors of your space just completely get ignored. Very much, basically, to be honest, something I think I won't have too much of a problem with. Unlike some people I have known have had quite a few problems with it, as obviously that is basically what happens in Crusader Kings, and obviously you have to have laws in place for them to be giving you taxes, you know, feudal vassals and things like that. If they've got, you know, a whole kingdom, might not even give you any salary, you know, sort of money. They might just provide you with troops every now and then. So it's not something that is, you know, anything new for me, something I think I might be able to deal with quite well, and it really will let me focus on a specific area of my actual empire and focus on that, rather than trying to focus on, you know, a lot of different planets. Obviously the micromanagement in sort of 4X games, when you're hitting the late game, can get something that is very difficult to manage, and, you know, it's why it's done by turns rather than real-time sort of thing like this, is simply because it would take you years and years to actually ever see a planet again in turn-based. You know, the turn-based system really does work for these games in that sense. So I think the sector way of doing things does make sense, that if the AI starts to take control of sectors and managing them, but you can sort of do little bits and pieces. One thing I would like to see them for the sectors add in though, is that the AI manages them for the most part, however, similar to Crusader Kings 2, where obviously, you know, you manage your vassals, they will build up the lands, raise their own forces and do things like that, but every so often you could step in. If you've got some spare gold and you want to improve somebody, you could fund one of their castles or cities to be building something extra and things like that that you want them to focus on. So that's something that I might like to see them add in with these, with the sectors, that okay, the AI for the most part will take them completely automated unless you take time to choose to step in and direct them in a specific way. That is something that I think would be quite a nice little feature. Like I say, I'm still playing around with the mid and late game phases. Obviously, I'll let you know my sort of opinions on those when I do actually get to them. So here you're just seeing this is pretty much what though the sort of the base sort of opening part of the exploration phase does very much contain. You've got a lot of research trying to really, beef up your empire into sort of a space civilization, rather than, because you sort of, it's similar with all these games, you start off with very much stuff which is just based around your one planet, and you're still sort of on that planet. You're not really thinking in terms of a space empire, and that's what you're basically doing here, is getting your people into the position to be able to start thinking in those sort of terms. Obviously, science ships, really good thing. I do tend to like getting sort of 2 science ships when I play any of these games. Obviously I play a lot of Galactic Civilizations and things like that. I've played 1, 2 and 3 of those. Master of Orions I've mentioned obviously as well. The Space Empire games. I always like to get a couple of science ships, start getting that all done as quickly as possible, and really expanding and getting to grips with the world that, or the universe I should say, that I'm actually in. I would like to see the universe a little bit bigger. That's not for any reason. I mean, there's 1,000 or so solar systems that you can get up to max at the minute, which is obviously what I'm on, because I want to have them as big as possible. However, I don't know, I almost feel like with obviously things like the No Man's Sky coming out at the later date, for sort of the next couple of months, which obviously is, procedurally generated, obviously, but is, as big as a whole galaxy. I don't know, I feel like almost 1,000 planets, when you compare it to things like that, is almost a little bit too small. And, 1,000 solar system, I should say. But then again, in Crusader Kings 2, and I believe actually in EU 4, I don't play that one as much anymore. I got kind of bored with it, to be honest. Not in a bad way, it's just, like I say, I enjoy the sort of the family interaction side of things. They have obviously moved the start dates back. I mean, there's over 200 years or so really that the start date's gone back in actual Crusader Kings, so that's something they may look at doing in this game, with in the same sense of, like the Rajas of India expansion pack, where they've added in extra landmasses. Something they may do in the later date to be able to build up your larger sort of forces, or build up larger empires and really have massive galaxies. Or if not, to be honest, I'm sure that there's going to be a mod done at some times. I do believe I did read something about how they are going to look at putting it, rather than in randomly generated universe, there will be an option to do preset universes. I think it's safe to say when those come out, you're going to be getting some really, really big, universes to be able to play around in. It's one of the things that I think they will look at doing soon. It's something that I think is really going to be needed at some point, to keep these games fresh and really get them large games that you can play. I mean, if anybody's played the Civilizations 3 game, the map for that one, obviously I've played quite a bit, it just feels absolutely huge. Okay, so here we are just, sort of expanding a little bit. One thing I will admit, this is the first time playing the web system. I have only used the warp drives up until now, and I'm a bit touch and go as to whether this is something that I do actually enjoy, which one I would prefer. There's the wormhole one still to do as well, which I will have a look at a later day on a different game, and let you obviously know my opinions on those. So I will obviously just mention as well, please do feel free to subscribe if you do enjoy these videos. I'm going to be covering Stellaris a lot more, so if it's something that you do want to see of, please be sure to leave me a subscription, and I will obviously know that then that's something that you're wanting to see more. The more that interaction I get from you, obviously, the more it is that I will know how you want me to direct this channel, and obviously would love to get your interaction on things like that. But obviously I will keep doing these, because this is a game that I've been really excited for a while. As you can tell, I'm rambling on a load. I've got so much to talk about for this game and not really enough time to do it and everything. I mean, this here, obviously the exploration stage with the spaceships, the science ships, is really nice feature that I do like. These, going to the planets, having to survey them, it's not just in case you go to the solar system and you just suddenly know about everything. It does require a little bit more work than that, and obviously you can get special events that happen because of those that you have to research. Case in point right there. Also as well, you're obviously getting these random researches even. Actually, that wasn't a case in point, that was just a random research. I thought that was an event there for a second, sorry. And so, I mean, even the researchers, it's a lot nicer system, I think, than Crusader Kings 2, which is very, you know, sit back and just leave it and ignore it almost sometimes, and then it'll pop up every now and then, and you just click the thing and you get it. So I think this is something where it actually builds up, and you can see it ticking over until the point where you're going to get it, basically, and a lot better than the EU4 way of doing it, which I think is, to be honest, a little bit boring, where, you know, you spend your sort of government points, your administration, diplomacy sort of points and everything, or your military, and then you just sort of get a new technology. It's always something that just seemed a little bit boring to me, is to just click on that and that's it. I do like this way of doing it, where you can see the progression of them steadily improving until eventually it does hit. I think it would be nice if they could add something that would let you possibly rush it a little bit almost, maybe, but, you know, we'll see how that goes. I'm sure there will be ways in the future to be able to really boost that up for a actual, you know, research sort of style race. And obviously there, you know, you're getting special abilities, those, the graphic, the gravity sensor sort of things that I've just gotten there, which increase survey speed. Definitely going to be something useful to pick up early game and start really expanding out to get some extra planets that you know about. One thing I will mention, obviously, that I have touched on earlier on, is that there is obviously a Warhammer mod coming out. I think it's safe to say that obviously I'm already doing 2 Warhammer actual mods for, you know, various other games, and I will definitely be getting that as soon as it is in a sort of playable state. It is in a playable state now, I will mention. If anybody is interested in it, I will actually look at linking it below in the description for this video, although it's not something I'm a massive fan of. To be perfectly honest, it's nothing against the mod itself. It is just sort of a races and skins mod at the minute. There's no new events, no new ship models, things like that. Got to admit, it will be great when you're starting to get the big actual cruiser sort of style ships for the Imperium, and it's something that as soon as that comes out, or, well, myself, as you can probably already guessed from this race, I'm going to be playing a Tau Empire. There's no way that I can't, really. I absolutely love the Tau. I always have done. I don't like what they've done with them in recent editions as much, but I do still like them regardless. So I will, though, anyway, that's something that we'll deal with at a later date. Obviously, I will be keeping an eye on that, and as soon as that is out, I will be one of the first people downloading that when it is in a real solid sort of playable state, more so than it is at the minute. And obviously, I will try it out at the minute though, and everything. It's just not something I feel like is, you know, worth much doing a review on at the minute. Obviously, as well, if you do see any other mods for this game that you would like me to play, please do be sure to actually leave me a comment and let me know. And, you know, I'm always happy to try out mods, especially for the actual Paradox games. I think they do have a really good sense of being able to add mods into their game, and I am looking at releasing a couple of other mod let's plays in the future for like Crusader Kings 2 and things like that. But obviously we'll cover that when I actually get to them. So this has hopefully been a bit of an interesting one for you. Managed to get to see how Stellaris actually works here, and like I say, couldn't really recommend this game enough. It's something I am really excited about at the minute. Please do be sure to subscribe and let me know if you do want to see any more Stellarises, if you want to see a let's play of this one, or a restart let's play, a roleplay sort of style let's play, which I'm obviously doing quite a lot of at the minute. I do like my roleplay in games. So we'll just say though that thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and of course be sure to, as I mentioned, leave the subscribe and get updates for yourself of when I'm going to be releasing more videos. So thank you very much for your time. I've been Etharal, and I shall see you next time here at EGN.